Tonight on ABC News Live Prime, catastrophic wildfires in Washington state destroy hundreds of homes as firefighters from other states rush in to help battle the windblown flames and smoke. Businesses burnt to the ground as dozens of large wildfires burn in the West. 67,000 people around Spokane, Washington, forced to evacuate.
I'm Alex Stone in Spokane, Washington, where families who have been able to return are finding nothing left.
Also breaking tonight, flash flooding from North Carolina to the Northeast. Streets washed out from Philadelphia to New York to Boston, with trees falling onto cars, trains, and buses.
I'm Gio Benitez here at Newark, where flights have been delayed by about 2 hours. 900 flights canceled across the country. We've got the latest with that weather picture coming up.
The deadly shooting at an In-N-Out burger in Idaho. Dramatic new video shows armed bystanders opening fire, driving the gunman away. Tonight, we hear from one of those bystanders and what police are now saying about the suspect. President Trump blasts U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's decision to drop charges in the reflecting pool vandalism case. The president says Pirro, quote, folded like an umbrella.
I'm Mary Bruce, where questions are now growing about Jeanine Pirro's future.
While Fisk University weighs building a data center on campus, detractors worry about noise, air, and water pollution. The university's president insists it can be built without harming the surrounding community and would be a boon for the campus and students alike.
It will allow us to really strengthen the curriculum, strengthen the academic experience, overall strengthen what happens for the faculty, the staff, the students, and even alumni who come back.
Finally, with the first preseason NFL game just days away, Justin Tinsley from ESPN's Anscape gives us his first impressions.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin with 3 fast-moving wildfires converging around Washington state's second largest city of Spokane. More than 700 structures have already been lost, and some 67,000 people, in fact, were forced to flee on a moment's notice. 6 Washington counties and 3 tribal nations have made emergency declarations. The governor is calling it the worst natural disaster in Spokane's history. Firefighters have faced walls of flame since fires broke out Saturday, and on street after street, people are coming home to find everything gone.
I just feel hurt. I feel lost. Every memory of my children are down there. Every memory of my grandchildren are down there.
With numerous fires burning not only in Washington, but also in Oregon and in Canada's British Columbia, air quality across parts of several Northwest states is unhealthy, carrying health impacts for everyone in those areas. Alex Stone is in Spokane, Washington, and leads us off tonight.
Tonight, families fleeing walls of flames, homes engulfed as multiple wildfires converge around Washington state's second largest city.
Oh my God, dude.
A Spokane firefighter's body camera showing what they were up against as the 3 fast-moving wildfires broke out Saturday. Hand-to-hand combat with the roaring flames. Some 67,000 people in Spokane County forced to flee on a moment's notice. Paige Klein's brother grabbing their dog. This was a view out of their car window. More than 700 homes and businesses confirmed destroyed, but authorities fear the number could be far higher.
I've been to a lot of places around the world, and I can tell you today that that's a war zone.
When the flames came racing through here, it sheared off the water lines into these homes. Now, 2 nights later, still water is pouring out of most of these homes. It's complete devastation.
We love this house. We raised our kids here, and everything is gone.
John and Kathy Sherrick were out of town when the fires destroyed their house. This is all that's left.
I just feel hurt. I feel lost. Every memory of my children are down there. Every memory of my grandchildren are down there. It's just, right now I just feel empty.
Only fragments remain for so many. Alex joins us now from Spokane, Washington. Alex, what's the latest on efforts to contain the fire there?
Well, they're working on it right now. There's actually the 3 fires. 2 of them are looking a lot better. 1 is still growing, but it's in more of a remote area. Let me show you where I am right now, Lindsay. This home is like so many that families are coming back to where just everything is gone. And they've been sifting through this all day today. The water is still coming out, hasn't been shut off where it was sheared off by the flames that came through. But firefighters say they're going to get a bit of a break, and they're getting that right now through about Thursday. Less wind right now, more humidity in the air, the relative humidity, and the temperatures have come down, but that's going to change on Thursday when temperatures are going to go back up and the wind could return, Lindsay.
All right, Alex Stone for us. Alex, thanks so much. And to the East Coast now, with the last 36 hours have brought widespread flooding and severe storm damage. Flash flood warnings earlier today from Philadelphia into New York. Falling trees also causing travel troubles across the region. Our Gio Benitez has the latest.
Tonight, drivers stalled in high water as another soaking storm wreaks travel havoc from Philly to New York to Boston. In Newark, New Jersey, drivers that risked the deep water stalled out as tractor trailers made waves all around them. Others pushed their dead cars out of the water as crews worked to clear storm drains. Blocked drains brought muddy floods to neighborhoods near Springfield, Massachusetts, too. In Connecticut, water gushing over the gas station's retaining wall, flooding the entire area. The torrential rain was enough to bring down multiple trees around New York's 5 boroughs, this one crushing a car.
I thought it was just thunder.
Outside Boston, in Plymouth, authorities say a woman sitting on her porch was killed when a gust of wind took down this massive tree. One person was hurt after a tree fell on this commuter train on New York's Long Island, and a tree came down on a Greyhound bus on I-95 in Westport, Connecticut. Thankfully, only a few minor injuries.
Seems like similar scenes week after week this summer. Gio joins us now from Newark Airport. And Gio, what sort of impact is the weather having on flights?
Oh, quite the impact right now, Lindsay. In fact, here at Newark, flights are delayed by about 2 hours. We've seen about 900 flight cancellations across the country. The good news, though, it is looking better tomorrow, but it's going to take a bit to recover, Lindsay.
We can imagine. All right, Gio Benitez for us. Thanks so much, Gio. And ABC's chief meteorologist Ginger Z joins us now. Ginger, seems that at least temporarily things are drying out in the east, but what's in the forecast in the west?
Yes, so here we've seen the dry out happen, and the whitecaps on the Hudson River tell you that it's been very windy behind that front, but certainly drier after more than 3.5 inches of daily record rain at Hartford. And in Williamsport, Pennsylvania yesterday, their wettest August day on record with more than 5 inches of rain. So we're clear, but boy, a place that would love to have some of that rain, the Northern Rockies and the Pacific Northwest, but it is not coming for them, not even close. The wind is still big, and that's why you see red flag warnings from North Dakota down to parts of Utah, where there are plenty of fires burning, even up to British Columbia. But I want your eye to go to that air quality alert in Idaho, western Montana, Washington State, and Portland, Oregon. Portland and Seattle will have poor air quality tomorrow, deteriorating through the day as that wind shifts. So please check airnow.gov if you live anywhere there covered in red before you head out tomorrow. The other big problem is that heat that's been kind of suppressed down to the south and west has now started to trickle up to places like Portland, where that heat that gets close to 100 by Wednesday will dry things out even more. So when the wind starts to pick up later this week, that combination is never good. Lindsay.
You're not out of the woods just yet. All right, Ginger, thank you. Now to the battle over the reflecting pool in the nation's capital. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro decided late Friday to drop charges against former Olympian David Hearn, saying it was a botched installation, not vandalism. But tonight, President Trump is lashing out, saying Pirro choked and folded like an umbrella. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
Tonight, President Trump slamming his close ally, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, for dropping her case against former Olympian David Hearn, who was charged with vandalizing the newly renovated reflecting pool. Pirro concluding the damage was caused not by vandalism, but by a botched installation.
Really disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella.
Just days after Trump spent $15 million in taxpayer money to paint the reflecting pool American flag blue, the paint started peeling, chunks floating up to the surface. Trump, providing no evidence, blamed vandals. And soon after, authorities arresting Hearn, who was riding his bike and stopped to check out the damage, dipping his hand in the water.
Hearn willfully destroyed property.
At the time, Pirro accused Hearn of deliberately pulling up the paint.
Did he have any tools, or was it just his bare hands?
Right now, we believe it's his bare hands, both hands.
So does that indicate in your belief that it was probably damaged before, or do you believe that he...
he damaged it.
Further, but do you believe it had already been damaged before?
He damaged the pool.
But Friday, Pirro dropped the charges, acknowledging documents from the Department of the Interior indicate the damage to the pool was the result of a botched installation and not vandalism. Pirro blaming the contractor.
I'm not saying I was 100% thrilled with the contractor, but the contractor was rushing. We wanted to get it open for July 4th, and we got it done. But in addition, there was vandalism.
Tonight, David Hearn's lawyer calling the case against him an abuse of government power.
Some damning words there. Mary Bruce joins us now from the White House. And Mary, what are your sources telling you at this point about Pirro's ability to hold on to her job?
Hey, well, Lindsay, Jeanine Pirro was spotted here at the White House late this afternoon meeting with the president, and sources say that the president has privately mused about whether he should fire her. Of course, they caution that nothing is ever final until the president says so. And meanwhile, Lindsay, the president's nominee for Attorney General, Todd Blanche, is now on track to be confirmed after giving in to the demands of two key Republican senators and putting in writing his pledge to kill the $1.8 billion taxpayer fund to pay out Trump's political allies, including January 6th rioters. Lindsay.
Mary Bruce for us. Thanks so much, Mary. President Trump is once again delaying an escalation of airstrikes in Iran, calling the postponement Iran's last chance to make a deal or face decapitation. But Iran denies any talks with the U.S. are underway. Jonathan Karl has those details.
After claiming he had just called off what would have been the largest military attack since World War II, President Trump said today he was giving Iran one more chance to make a deal.
I want to give him every last chance before decapitation.
Trump insists he called off the attack because Iran's leaders asked him to.
They called me and they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. That's the real truth, and everyone knows it.
It's at least the 7th time Trump has threatened a major new attack, only to call it off, claiming progress on peace talks. Tonight, Iran flatly denied any negotiations with the U.S. were underway. Still, Trump insists there will soon be an agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
We're talking about the strait, the opening of the strait, having it open literally by tomorrow, completely open.
The president is well aware that gas prices have jumped to more than $4 a gallon, up $1.13 since he launched the war more than 5 months ago. Under pressure and with no peace deal in hand, the president is lashing out at American oil and gas companies, saying they're making too much money.
Based on a shortage, they're making too much money. I don't like it. They're going to give some of that back to the public.
Although the president said that the Strait of Hormuz will be fully reopened tomorrow, it's unclear how that would happen, given there are no talks underway right now. The one thing the president insisted is that there would be no arrangement that he would agree to that would allow the Iranians to charge a toll. Lindsay?
All right, Jonathan Karl for us from the White House. Thank you. Now to another national security issue. Sources tell ABC News that at least a dozen states are now reporting possible cyber attacks on critical infrastructure. The FBI is encouraging utilities to disconnect from the internet. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky. Aaron, what's the latest on that?
Tonight, Lindsay, cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure in the United States appear to be spreading. Sources tell ABC News federal officials are now concerned about water and wastewater utilities in at least a dozen states being compromised. Iran is the prime suspect. So far, there does not appear to be widespread disruption. One of the affected states, Michigan, saying tonight there are no known impacts that posed a public health concern. But the fear, Lindsay, is that Iran is showing its capacity to retaliate as President Trump threatens to escalate the war. Lindsay?
Aaron, thank you. Disturbing allegations of domestic abuse have rocked the re-election campaign of Ohio Congressman Max Miller. Miller denies accusations he physically assaulted his ex-wife and their 2-year-old daughter, calling them false. Now Miller's former father-in-law, Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno, is calling on Miller to resign. Jay O'Brien has those details.
Tonight, the extraordinary family feud rocking the Republican Party. Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno declaring his former son-in-law, Ohio Congressman Max Miller, unfit to serve, accusing Miller of increasingly erratic and dangerous behavior and insisting he needs serious psychological help. The congressman was married to the senator's daughter, Emily, who claims she was a victim of spousal abuse. Miller says that's just not true.
I categorically deny abusing my former wife.
In a February police report obtained by ABC News, the congressman's ex-wife claims he threw her against the wall, once held a gun to her head, and another time threw hot water on her. Miller says she's lying. As proof, he said his ex-wife offered to cook him dinner several days after one of the alleged incidents.
Ask yourself, if I had assaulted her, would she have offered to cook me dinner 6 days later?
The congressman's ex-wife also told authorities he may have abused their 2-year-old daughter, claiming that after one visit with Miller, the child came home with a fractured collarbone.
I have never abused our daughter.
Miller says his daughter was hurt by employees at her daycare. The local Department of Children and Family Services did not find evidence to substantiate allegations of child abuse against Miller. Still, his former father-in-law, Senator Moreno, writes, "I hold my breath every minute he has custody of my granddaughter."
Lindsay, Miller was once a close aide to President Trump. Today, the president calling him a good person, saying these are accusations. Meantime, Republicans are growing anxious. Unless Miller drops out by this week, his name will be on the ballot in November. Lindsay.
All right, Jay O'Brien for us. Thanks, Jay. Tomorrow, Michigan voters will help shape not only their party's future, but potentially the balance of power in Washington, D.C. The state's U.S. Senate race is a critical seat for Democrats, and the primary will determine who moves on to the high-stakes general election this fall. Our political director, Avery Harper, is in Michigan, where the party's moderate and progressive factions are locked in a hard-fought contest.
Here in Michigan, Democrats are fighting for the future of their party.
I just want to see us as Democrats be stronger. I want somebody who can win for us.
Progressive former public health official Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed and moderate Congresswoman Haley Stevens are locked in a tight race to replace retiring Democratic Senator Gary Peters. Al-Sayed racking up the support of the party's biggest progressives.
Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed and I may come from different places, but we're forged from the same fight.
Please welcome the next United States Senator from the state of Michigan, Abdul Al-Sayed.
As establishment Democrats have thrown their weight behind Stevens, including the senator they're both running to replace.
I think Haley Stevens is an outstanding candidate, and she's going to make a great senator. Particularly like the fact that she's kind of a practical, common sense person who tries to find common ground. And God, we need to find common ground.
El-Sayed and Stevens are competing to face off against former Republican Congressman Mike Rogers in November. For Democrats to have a chance to take back control of the Senate, they must hold this seat in Michigan.
I'm the best candidate to take on Mike Rogers and beat him.
I'm capturing all this enthusiasm I see everywhere across my state.
The two went head-to-head in their final debate earlier this week, where support for Israel and AIPAC spending, a flashpoint in the race, was front and center.
Just last week, our friend here voted to send $3.3 billion of your tax dollars to a foreign government. That is the pro quo that comes with the quid of $30 million spent by AIPAC.
I don't think there's much difference between super PACs going in for Abdul or super PACs going in for me. We have a problem with campaign finance reform in this country.
We caught up with El-Sayed at a campaign stop on Detroit's East Side. El-Sayed has centered his campaign on getting corporate money out of politics and pushing for universal health care.
I can win back the voters we lost in 2024, and I can build a coalition that includes young people who actually want to be in the politics again. So if you're doing the math and you're watching this campaign and you're looking at who you want to be on that debate stage with Mike Rogers, I think there's one answer.
Strong black community here on the east side of Detroit. Can you talk about the perception that some people may have left over from 2024 that you did not fully support Kamala Harris? And do you worry that that could hurt you with a key voting bloc here in the state of Michigan?
Well, you saw the coalition that we're building. I was proud to endorse Vice President Harris on day one. Now, I deeply disagreed with her position on the genocide in Gaza, but I endorse her. A vote is about the future, not the past.
Just south of Detroit, Stevens is campaigning on a moderate message she hopes will win over independent voters as concern among national Democrats grows that El-Sayed can't win in the fall.
I'm campaigning in the underdog way that I, have approached all of my races to win for the people.
That approach and her delivery leading to this viral clip.
And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
Stevens making clear where she stands on Israel compared to her opponent.
He wants a one-state solution. That's not going to bring us anywhere closer to peace. I want to see a two-state solution where the people of Israel and the people of Palestine are living together side by side.
And you've received millions of dollars in support from some political action committees. How do you convince voters that the folks who are cutting those checks are not influencing you?
Well, look, my motivation for everything I do in public service, from the time when I worked on that U.S. auto rescue in the administration of the great Barack Obama, to when I first put up my hand to run for Congress to flip a seat, through my years serving Michigan and delivering for Michigan, Michigan has been my North Star. The only thing influencing my vote is the people of Michigan.
Stevens' supporters pointing to her experience.
Haley Stevens is a fighter. Her push, her work, her drive, she doesn't give up.
But back in Detroit, we met voters excited about El Sayed.
He's actually looks like he's willing to work for the people.
What do you say to Democrats who think that Abdul El-Sayed wouldn't be able to win in a general election?
Yeah, I would say look at Trump, because people said that about him too.
Our thanks to Avery Harper. 2 people have now died in the ongoing national cyclosporiasis outbreak. Michigan State Health Department reported that 2 people there with, quote, significant underlying health conditions died from the intestinal parasite. Health officials have so far linked cases in Michigan and 8 other states to iceberg lettuce served at Taco Bell restaurants. There have now been more than 11,000 cases and nearly 200 hospitalizations reported in Michigan, though cases do appear to be slowing. Moving on now to the deadly shooting at an In-N-Out Burger in Twin Falls, Idaho. 3 people were killed and 7 others injured. Dramatic video shows armed bystanders opening fire to try to get the gunman to stop. ABC's Trevor Ault reports from Twin Falls.
Tonight, investigators are searching for the motive in this Idaho mass shooting.
What's happening? What happened? What's happening?
Shoot. 3 people killed, 7 injured outside an In-N-Out restaurant in this crowded shopping center.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Police have identified the suspect as 24-year-old Chad Williams, seen here dressed in black, armed with a long gun.
Report multiple people down.
Hundreds of people running for cover as the shots rang out, but investigators say 2 men, an off-duty state trooper, and this man, 35-year-old Jordan Salinas, fired back.
I peeked around the right-hand side of that sign closest to the road, and that's where I saw the individual with his rifle pointed at the vehicles.
Authorities believe those heroic actions drove the shooter from the scene and likely saved lives.
He seemed unusually comfortable aiming that rifle at those cars, and then as soon as some rounds started coming at him, everything changed. Immediately, all that bravado he had immediately crumbled.
This In-N-Out had opened just a week prior. The company says one of their workers was killed while caring for customers. Christopher Claunch was also killed. His sister telling the New York Times he'd worked at a recovery center helping people with addiction, and his partner said he loved traveling, cooking, and the outdoors. We also spoke to Lindsay Tangy, who found several of the victims at the scene.
This is just not our community. None of us expected this.
So many shocked by this. Trevor Ault joins us now from Twin Falls, Idaho. Trevor, what more are you learning about the people who jumped in to help?
Well, on top of that hero civilian that we talked to, Jordan, well, he told me that he had been training every single weekend for 5 years because of a previous mass shooting that happened in Idaho back in 2021. Every single week he had been training for the possibility of a mass shooting. And on top of his actions, which of course deterred the shooter, he said that in those moments after, there were dozens of people who all jumped in to help with first aid. And it was that entire community reaction that very likely saved lives here. Lindsay?
Trevor Ault for us. Thanks so much, Trevor. Still ahead, a new warning from Microsoft. Hackers may be targeting your devices at hotels. The important warning before you join the hotel Wi-Fi. And an HBCU is stepping into the center of the data center debate. How one university is hoping a data center on campus will open up opportunities for students. Next. Welcome back, everyone. The Senate returned to work today with a long to-do list and just a few days to go before the August recess. For more now, we're joined by Democratic Senator from Maryland, Chris Van Hollen. Senator, thank you so much for your time tonight. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche finally gave in to Republican Senators Cornyn and Tillis's demands to formally rescind the $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund to advance his nomination. Now, the president told reporters today that he didn't sign off on Blanche's decision and continued to call for his political supporters to get payouts from the DOJ. Do you think that Blanche's order finally puts an end to this fund?
Lindsay, good to be with you. The short answer is no, I don't think so. I don't think this is really worth the paper it's written on. And as you heard from the president, he's still determined to pursue this. In addition, the two Republican senators were negotiating over the tax giveaway, right? The get out of jail card free for Trump and family members on unpaid taxes. And essentially, Trump gets to deal with it as it is. That's really not going to bind them in any way.
You serve on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Today, the president said that this is Iran's last chance before, quote, decapitation. Iran is publicly denying that it's even in talks with the U.S. Do you believe that this latest threat will bring Iran to the table?
Lindsay, I don't know. What I do know is that this war has made no sense from the beginning. It's a war in search of a mission. They keep changing the mission every day. American soldiers have been killed, injured, civilians killed, gas prices are going up. And this all from the president who told the country he would keep us out of war and focus on bringing down prices. So my view is when you're digging a hole, you should just stop digging.
Israel has expressed serious security concerns about the president's Hamas disarmament agreement as Israeli strikes in Gaza killed more than a dozen over the weekend. Do you think that this agreement will end the conflict?
Well, I hope the president will put a lot of energy into this effort. As you just said, Lindsay, the president announced this in big, bold letters on his social media the other day as a big breakthrough. And then within days, Israeli forces had killed more Palestinians, a clear breach of this agreement that the president had proposed, which would require them to stop these sort of military actions in Gaza. So I hope the president will start actually doing the hard work to justify these social media posts that he puts out every day. So far, unfortunately, we've not seen that.
You've been outspoken about the detainment of Salma Safi, a 20-year-old Palestinian-American citizen who's been held in military detention by the IDF without charges since June after being taken from her family's home in the middle of the night in the West Bank. What can you tell us about the status of her case?
Well, right. This is a 20-year-old. She's a Palestinian-American. She's a student right now attending university on the West Bank. She was just snatched out of her parents' home a couple months ago. And there are really no charges against her. There may be some trumped-up political allegations here. But, Lindsay, my view is that the American embassy says its number one goal is to protect Americans overseas. And in this case, we should be demanding accountability and justice. I mean, you've also seen over 9 American citizens killed on the West Bank over the last 4 years with no accountability and no justice. And so it's well overdue that we actually get some accountability in these cases involving American citizens.
As you know, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in D.C. last week. Do you know if the White House or State Department, perhaps you, were able to have any conversations with him about her detainment or if she'll be released?
Well, this is part of the problem. I don't think the Trump administration raised her case at all. So you had a visiting Israeli prime minister at the White House while you have an American citizen unjustly detained in Israel and American citizens who have been killed with impunity and without justice. And so you would think that the United States government would do what it says its priority is, which is to protect Americans overseas. Unfortunately, that simply has not been the case, Lindsay. I have raised this directly with members of the Trump administration. I've raised it publicly. I've raised these cases with the Israeli embassy. Unfortunately, we get more of the same, which is nothing, no accountability, despite this completely unfair treatment of American citizens.
Senator Van Hollen, so appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Coming up, the debate over data centers shifts to one of the country's most prestigious historically black universities. Our president joins us to explain why she sees an educational and economic opportunity. And a dramatic moment atop New York City's iconic Brooklyn Bridge, why one man decided to bear it all and take a leap of faith. Welcome back to Prime. Here's a look at the stories making headlines right now. 3 wildfires have converged on Washington state's second largest city of Spokane and have already burned more than 8,000 acres there. Nearly 70,000 people were forced to flee the rapidly spreading fires on a moment's notice, and more than 700 structures have been destroyed. The governor has called it the worst natural disaster in the region's history. And in Aurora, Colorado, police officer Matthew Neely has been indicted in the deadly shooting of Rajon Belt Stubblefield. He's accused of shooting him after a traffic stop last August. The indictment says Neely tackled Belt Stubblefield after he did not comply with commands. No word from Officer Neely, who is now on unpaid leave. Now to the peeling paint of the reflecting pool in our nation's capital. President Trump lashed out at U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro after she dropped charges against former Olympian David Hearn. Hearn was accused of vandalizing the pool, but Pirro now says a botched installation is to blame for the damage. And here in New York City, a man climbed to the top of the Brooklyn Bridge and then jumped off in the East River on Sunday. He was not wearing any clothes, and police say he had a makeshift parachute. Officers pulled him from the water. He's now in the hospital in stable condition. He faces charges of trespassing, lewdness, and disorderly conduct. Still ahead, Fisk University President Dr. Eugenia Clark has plans to bring a 70,000 square foot data center to campus in the heart of Nashville. Why that sparked an intense debate on potential environmental impacts. And Microsoft issues a new urgent hacking warning. What you need to know about public Wi-Fi networks to keep your devices safe. As data centers continue to grow across the country, private HBCU Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee faces ongoing questions over their proposed 70,000 square foot data center. The center is a major part of what they call their Quantum Leap campus improvement plan, which will also feature an additional 30,000 square foot of academic space. The university says that the new center will create opportunities for students to be at the forefront of emerging digital and technological industries. Critics say the potential environmental harm outweighs any benefit that the data center could provide. And at the university's first public town hall, President Eugenia Clark defended the plan and pushed back against criticism from students and the community.
This isn't something that's been finalized. We were being transparent and saying this is what we're visioning for our future.
And for more now, we are joined by Fisk University President Dr. Clark. Thank you so much for taking the time to have the conversation.
Absolutely. And thank you for asking us to be here.
Of course. A lot of people want to know about this Quantum Leap project. Just explain what it would mean, and the data centers, as we already introduced, there's a lot of controversy surrounding it.
Mm-hmm. So 2 years ago, when we started looking into this whole idea of the entire campus master plan, the idea of building this innovation center came into being. The innovation center is one building, as we vision it, and that one building will have this technology part and the student classroom part. And the purpose is that due to the access that we have in that footprint of where we are, it will allow us to really strengthen the curriculum, strengthen the academic experience, overall strengthen what happens for the faculty, the staff, the students, and even alumni who come back.
How would you say specifically that having a data center actually on campus might benefit the students and the university?
So what we have to first decide is what kind of center will it be? We're now in a position to determine how do we proceed with this concept? How do we make sure that it doesn't have any environmental impact? It doesn't have any adverse impact to the students, faculty, and staff that are there, but at the same time, provide a very specialized and unique learning opportunity and research opportunity for the faculty, the staff, and the students.
And so how do you measure or monitor that? Because traditionally people are saying when these data centers are present, it does cause this environmental problem, whether it's the water, or the air, the noise.
So first of all, it has required a lot of work, because when I started on this journey, I was hearing about a center that had gone into operation in West Tennessee. That happened not far from home, is how I would like to describe it, which allowed us at Fisk to step back and research and understand that no two data centers are alike. There are no two that are designed or engineered that are alike, but it is the engineering component behind them that can be viewed and designed so that those don't become issues in the environment.
Many students and graduates of HBCUs really see the colleges as a sacred space.
Yes.
What would you say to members of that community specifically who feel that this would in some way interrupt that?
So it's an academic center. We're an institution of higher learning. We've been in that same place for more than 160 years. This is a part of a vision, along with updates to the residence halls, along with addition of other new buildings that are much needed on the campus.
As you likely know, Elon Musk has faced some backlash for allegations of air pollution as a result of an XAI data center that he created in Memphis. For people who are likening this project to what you're considering at Fisk, would you say that they're
nothing
different?
alike? Nothing alike. I will say that what has happened in Memphis is tragic, shouldn't have happened. Nothing has happened at Fisk. That's why we're being transparent about what we're thinking about doing, so that our community and the right kind of partner will be interested in partnering with us on this project. We will not be repeating what happened in Memphis. We have no interest in doing that. Our existence in this community, in this neighborhood, is too important to us.
It's estimated that this is roughly a $900 million project. Who's funding it?
Every part and piece of it will have different funding models to it. So, for instance, the primary projects we're looking at right now are two. We're looking at upgrades to 3 of our residence halls that are so old that they're eligible for some historical tax credit benefits. So we'll be using some of those opportunities to help us fund those projects. We have a huge grant that's going to allow us to do an expansion to the John Lewis Center for Social Justice.
What's the overall message that you want your students, alumni, faculty, residents of Nashville to know about this plan?
The message is this: Fisk is looking at a concept that we think will take us into the next 160 years. Higher ed is in a different place right now, and the challenges that we're up against are some we've never experienced before. We've got to be innovative, visionary, and figure out what it looks like to go forward. And then the second thing is to remember, just like no two HBCUs are alike, no two data centers are alike either.
Dr. Eugenia Clark, we thank you
Thank
so
you
much
for
the
having me.
conversation.
I appreciate
really
it.
Appreciate
Thank you.
And still ahead, the pop star stepping away from the public eye amid intense scrutiny about her appearance, and an FBI agent on the hunt for a female serial killer. We'll talk to actress Emmy Rossum about her hit new Hulu show Furious after the break. A global superstar in the middle of her tour says she's preparing to step away from the spotlight. The return of a long-lost millennial-era social media platform, and the latest Spider-Man film soars at the box office. These stories and more in tonight's Rundown. Ariana Grande is taking a break. A representative for the 33-year-old says she'll take a, quote, step back from visibility after her tour wraps in London next month, adding the decision follows increased public scrutiny over her health and physical appearance. Just days ago, Grande released a music video for her song Pedal, as well as recently dropping an album by the same name. The announcement means postponing her next project, in which she was set to appear on the London stage with her Wicked co-star Jonathan Bailey. Fans will get to see her, by the way, in Focker-in-Law, alongside Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro the day before Thanksgiving. Microsoft has issued a security warning about hotel Wi-Fi. The company says Russian hackers are using phony sign-in pages to break into accounts. Microsoft says that you should assume that public and hotel Wi-Fi networks might not be trustworthy. Using your phone as a hotspot is a safer option, but make sure that you check your plan's data allowance first. Is it still toilet paper if it's not made with paper? One of the biggest manufacturers of paper products is hoping to find out. Kimberly-Clark, maker of Huggies diapers, Scott paper towels, and Cottonelle toilet paper, tells the Wall Street Journal the company has been looking for a viable alternative to wood pulp and all the trees needed to make its products. The solution could be using the Hesper aloe plant, It can grow with very little water, and there's plenty of it in the Southwest. The company still needs to test the plant to see if it would be as soft, pliable, and absorbent as its current products. Start thinking about who you're going to put in your top 8 because MySpace may be making a comeback. The owners say they're planning a relaunch of the social media giant that ruled the internet in the age before Reels and doom scrolling. At one point, the site was more popular than Google, but no details yet on the launch date or the classic MySpace features that may be coming back. The company tried to relaunch as a music-focused site in 2013, but it wasn't able to recapture its former audience. Recent research indicates users are frustrated with their feeds being dictated by algorithms, ads, and branded content, and not posts from people they actually know. Congrats to everyone who attended Zac Brown's sold-out Boston concert last night. The country singer gifted cruise tickets to all 35,000 fans in attendance at Fenway Park.
I'm buying every single person here a cruise for 2 people on the boat.
Valued at $40 million in total, Brown's reps say that it's the biggest audience gifting in live entertainment history. An explosive weekend at the box office. Our parent company Disney's Spider-Man Brand New Day racked up a jaw-dropping $360 million this weekend, the biggest debut in box office history, beating 2019's Avengers Endgame. As for future Spider-Man films, Tom Holland has revealed in a new interview that a plan is in place to pass the baton to a new actor. She's known for her gritty, get-your-hands-dirty roles like on the dark Showtime comedy Shameless. Now in a new Hulu series, Emmy Rossum plays an FBI agent hunting a female serial killer. She's also an executive producer on the show. Our Rhiannon Alley sat down with her to talk all about Furious.
In your own words, Furious is twisty, twisted crime thriller with 2 women at the center, and neither one is totally the good guy or the bad guy. 3 victims we know of. Neighbors say they saw a woman.
Emmy Rossum is getting furious.
I believe there's a deeper motivation here.
The actress became a household name as Fiona Gallagher in the iconic TV series Shameless.
Well, luckily your stupid sister found it first.
In Captured Hearts is the emotionally resilient Christine Daae in the 2004 film adaptation of The Phantom of the Opera.
You were just 17 at that time. What stands out the most when you look back on that time in your life? Probably the magic of it. It felt so big and romantic, and so much of my real lived experience was similar to that of the character in Phantom of the Opera. That character had a deep yearning for a father that she had lost who had died, and I certainly have that for my father, who wasn't around when I was a kid.
The now Hollywood veteran's newest project?
I don't like the sound you're making, but I love your smile.
A Hulu original series, Furious, which she also executive produced. Rossum plays Alice Black, an FBI agent on the hunt for a serial killer.
You know this isn't an OD. It's staged. You've played a lot of strong female characters. I always gravitate to the characters who exist in moral gray area. It's more interesting to me. We know that Alice is a victim of violence, and although she doesn't believe she can get justice for herself, she's pursuing justice for others. I just need information about Adrian Murado. I found your 302 from 2010. You suspected him of trafficking girls. I think it's possible that one of the girls he trafficked might have killed him.
On her quest for justice, Agent Black is on a collision course with the killer, who has an agenda of her own.
Probably time, right?
Also starring in Furious, Lola Pettigrew as Catherine, the shape-shifting villain who is trying to understand the trauma of her own past.
The show really upends the idea of a perfect victim. I think in life and society quite often, and in TV and film, in order for someone to feel like they can receive or deserve justice or dignity, after surviving something. It feels like they have to be a morally perfect person, a quote-unquote good person, and that's just not true.
Female serial killers are obviously extremely rare.
Yeah.
What was the significance of making that character female?
The psychological story of how a woman would get to that point was what was really, drew me to the project. That became the engine of the show, which was these two women who've both been victims of violence. How did they deal with what happened to them? Where did they put that in their lives? What choices did they make? And they both made really different choices.
Furious is Elizabeth Merriweather's latest project, best known for creating hits like New Girl, starring Zooey Deschanel.
You know what's funny? When I saw your ad on Craigslist, I thought you were women.
And The Dropout with Amanda Seyfried.
I'm going to drop out to Stanford. This machine is going to change the world.
Her producing prowess now funneled into the Hulu original crime thriller.
3 names are listed as confidential informants with plea deals.
It's not a whodunit, obviously, because we know who the killer is in the first few minutes of the show. It's a whydunit. It's a psychological kind of unearthing of who these two women are and why they do the things they do.
Merriweather also tapped to pen the screenplay to the upcoming film adaptation of Britney Spears' memoir, The Woman in Me.
It was announced that you are going to be penning the Britney Spears biopic.
I am.
Is there anything you can tell us about it?
I can't,
Nothing?
but I'm so excited, and it's a dream job.
For Rossum, life these days is a juggling act. The 39-year-old actress is also mom to her 5-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son, who she shares with her husband, director Sam Esmail. The couple have been married for nearly 10 years.
And I want to know how you do it all.
Well, that's the problem, right? Trying to do it all. And I think the pressure comes from within. This is the one job that you get to have that's like for life. So for me, it's really special, it's really important, and I think it's really important for me to remember, as I'm a reforming perfectionist, we don't have to do it all. But I think you have to learn it over and over and over again. It really is a question of forgiving ourselves for not being able to be everything to everyone all the time.
A reforming perfectionist. Our thanks to Rhiannon for that conversation. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.